So, it's almost Halloween, and there's this new YouTube series called One Horrifying Moment. And I thought about this for a while, thinking about what to do, all ranging from a Clone Wars episode, an Arrow episode, The Shining, Hereditary, Midsummer, The Lighthouse. I know, kind of a weird selection. And then the list just goes on and on. But then I finally figured out what to do. Daredevil. It's basically been 2 years since Daredevil Season 3 had come out, and I thought this would be a perfect time to do a video on it. And also, I just love Daredevil. The episode I'm going to cover here is Season 3, Episode 6, The Devil You Know. Now, on first glance, you might think this is referring to Matt Murdock because, well, he's Daredevil. Nope. This is about Bullseye becoming Daredevil. Bullseye is an incredibly nuanced character in the show. Throughout this episode and really through the whole season, Benjamin Poindexter, aka Bullseye, is being emotionally manipulated by Wilson Fisk into becoming an incredible threat to Matt Murdock. He reaches his breaking point and he goes through a major manic episode here, probably his worst, and is about to commit suicide. All until Wilson Fisk calls and Poindexter gets the Daredevil suit, which is sort of a nice metaphor actually for someone making a deal with the devil and eventually becoming it, both figuratively and literally. After this is one of the scariest scenes in all of the show. Bullseye goes to the news bulletin to assassinate someone who has vital information that could be a huge threat to Fisk. Now, we've seen in the show that Bullseye kind of has a huge temper problem, and it's hard for him to control, so naturally as a viewer, you expect to see that here. But what's really scary is actually how cool and calculated he is here. Him embracing the devil and murdering innocents is actually easy for him. We see all these innocents being impaled and just brutally murdered by him, while Karen is locked in a room trying to keep their witness safe. Eventually, Matt shows up and the two start duking it out in a wonderfully shot and choreographed fight scene. And it's just absolutely full of tension. We know Matt is not in his peak right now, and we've seen him lose plenty of battles here, and we really don't know who's going to win this fight. We see what makes Bullseye such a threat, and he can basically make anything around him his weapon. And then there's just some nice visual detail here where Matt tries to mimic what he's doing by picking up objects, but ultimately he realizes he can't defeat him like that. Matt then realizes the only way he can beat Bullseye is through close quarter combat, and the fight continues to be really riveting, and then he gets stabbed with scissors and loses the fight. Due to how unhinged Bullseye is, we don't know what's going to happen here, and we fear for the rest of our main characters in this one room, because if Bullseye wanted to, they'd all be dead. But he instead just knocks out Foggy, impales Karen's boss, and then, well, I mean, he does brutally murder their witness, so pretty horrifying, right? If you said yes, well, I agree with you. I mean, look at this. But if you said no, I also agree because there's something more horrifying about this. Sure, from a visual perspective, this is pretty scary, but what makes this really scary is when Matt walks in the room for the first time, he sees himself. He is literally looking at the devil version of himself here. My gosh, this show is so good, please bring it back, Feige. But in these first 6 episodes, we see how similar Poindexter and Matt are. Both of them lost their fathers, had traumatic upbringings, both want to help people in some way here, but the main difference being love. After Poindexter loses his father, he doesn't really receive any love or care. He's instead treated like a freak and is cast into some sort of system that doesn't really care about him. Whereas Matt, he's shown time, care, and most importantly, love. And his character here is really just focusing on all the stuff he's lost throughout the season, and I think we can all relate to that. We don't really think about all the loving people we have and how grateful we should be in the moment, and when we lose something, that's really all we think about. But when Matt looks at Poindexter here, he realizes this is what he could have become. A monster. And this is again not only applicable to the show, but to all of us. If our circumstances in life were just slightly different, we could have easily become something we hate, something scary, something horrifying. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I would really appreciate a like and even a subscription if you want. Hopefully the video creeped you out a little bit, and if you guys want more Daredevil videos or even just more video analysis content like this, just let me know in the comments. With all that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.